Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you're watching this in the morning. This is your video on translating expressions. So this is the first video of our new unit. So you should be on page 3 in your packet. Looks like this. It says clue word match at the top. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take a few minutes. So none of these words should be new for you. These are words that we've been talking about since elementary school for math. So I want you to pause your video in a second, and I want you to just, with a pencil, take all of the words in the word bank and put them in the correct category, okay, on what word they indicate, what operation they indicate, addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, okay? So go ahead and pause your video, put them where you think they go with a pencil, and then unpause for me. Go ahead. Okay, so hopefully you did that. So here is what you should have. So again, you should pause your video and make sure that you got all these correct. If you didn't, then obviously change them, put them in the right spot. There's a few that I want to talk about before we move on, and those are per and each, okay? The words per and each both indicate multiplication and or division depending on the problem. So if I say something like, me and my friends are going to the movies and we each buy a ticket for $10, how much are we going to pay in all? Then you would do 10 times the number of tickets, right? So that would indicate multiplication. If, however, I said, my friends and I went to the movies and paid $50 for our tickets, if there are 5 of us, how much did each ticket cost? In that case, you would take the 50 and divide by 5. So that would be a division problem to get $10 per ticket. So it kind of depends, okay? So once you, like I said, pause this, make sure this page is good. And then if it is good, we're going to flip to page 4 and kind of put some of this in action, okay? So go ahead and do that. All right, so here's page 4. It says translating practice. So now what we're going to do is we're going to translate. And remember, math is a language, okay? Just like English and Spanish and French, math is an English that uses symbols. So when it says to translate, I want you to think of it just like if you're translating from English to Spanish, we're translating from English to mathematical symbols, okay? So that's where those words that tell you what operation you're doing are going to come into play. So number 1 says, a number, n, decreased by 4. So we don't know what this number is. So in this case, I'm telling you to use the variable n for that number that we don't know. If I tell you the variable to use, then you need to use that variable. If I don't tell you what variable, then you can use any variable you want. Okay, keep that in mind. So a number n decreased by, which is subtraction, and then we have 4. So that's our expression, n minus 4. Number 2, my phone bill, which I'm telling you to use B for, increased by $80. So we do B for the phone bill, increased by is addition, and then $80. Number 3, twice her age, which we're going to use A for, increased by 7. Okay, so this is kind of a two-parter. So if I cover up the increase by 7 and we just have twice her age A, twice is times 2, so that would be 2A, and then increased by 7. Okay? Number 4, 8 fewer than the number of people, which is P. Now, this one's tricky, okay, because the phrase fewer than is what we refer to as a switch word, okay? So I'm going to box this in, and we're going to write these down in a second, okay? If I want 8 fewer than the number of people, then I need to know the number of people first so that then I can take 8 away from that. So in this case, you're not starting with the 8 and then subtracting the P. You have to switch these, okay? Which is why I refer to fewer than as a switch word or a switch phrase, okay? Number 5, 4 more than the fee, okay? More than is going to be another one of those switch phrases. Because if I want 4 more than the fee, I need to know the fee first so that I can add 4 to it. Number 6, the quotient, which means division, of the price P and 3. So we're dividing, what we're dividing is the price and 3. Okay, always go in the order that you read when you're translating. Number 7, 9 less than 3 times the amount A. Okay, so less than is again one of those switch phrases. I want 9 less than something, I have to put the something first. Okay, if I say that I have $9 less than you, I need to know how much money you have, right? Because then I have 9 less than that. So in this case, we're going to start with this second part of the expression here. Okay, so let's look at this first. If this just said 3 times the amount A, we would write 3A. And then we're going to do 9 less than that. Okay. Number 8, 11 less than. Again, we have that switch phrase. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. Right? That's 11 less than. It's a switch. So now in front of it, I'm going to put the product of the total T and 2. So product means multiplication. If we want to multiply T and 2, we don't write T2. We put the number first. And then we put the T, okay? So that when you put the number first, this is the coefficient. That's what that's called. And when you do your lowercase t, make sure you put a little hook on it like that. Otherwise, it's going to look like a plus sign, okay? So just be careful of that. Number 9, 14 subtracted from. Okay, again, this is another switch phrase. If I'm doing 14 subtracted from the cost, I need to know the cost first so that I can subtract 14 from it. And then last one, 1,200 more than. So again, more than is a switch phrase. So that means the 1,200 is going to go at the end. So I'm going to do this. Okay, that's 1,200 more than. And then we're going to start with half the deposit. And for the deposit, we're going to do D. So to show half the deposit, there's a couple ways we can do this. We can do 1/2 D, or we can do D over 2. Okay, these are equal. Or you could do 0.5 D. These are all the same exact thing. Okay, whichever one makes more sense to you, go ahead and write that down. All right. Okay, so if you need to rewind this video to fill this page in, go for it. But before we're done, we are going to switch back to page 3 because at the bottom, we have a spot to list all of those switch words, okay? You need to know these switch words. So these are something that we're going to put on an index card when you fill out your index cards, okay? So let's look back. Switch words we saw. Fewer than. Okay, we're just going to make a bulleted list here. More than. Less than. And then that phrase, subtracted from. Okay, and it doesn't even have to be subtracted from. It's really the word from that's the key. It could say taken from, things like that. But it's that word from that tells you to switch. So whenever you see these phrases, fewer than, more than, less than, from, okay, those need to be indicators in your brain. So when you see it, you go, wait, what do I have to do here? Okay, think. And that's when you have to switch the order because they're switch words. Okay? All right, guys, so your homework is going to be page 5. Okay, so on page 5, let me just show you this quick. At the top, you're just continuing doing the practice with the translating. I do not want you to do number 5. Okay, that one's a little tricky. It's not worded well, so we're going to skip that one. At the bottom, you're doing the opposite. So now we're giving you the mathematical symbols, and then you need to write in words how you would say this. Okay, so that's where you're going to want to use these clue words to help you. And remember, there's lots of different ways that you can say these. Okay, so that's where you and your partner, you and the person next to you, might have two totally different ways of saying it, but they still make perfect sense mathematically. Okay? All right, guys, if you have any questions, let us know. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.